Hello and welcome. I'm Bob Campbell and this is The Real Review. With me today I've got Nick Buck, who's the CEO of Te Mata Estate. The famous Te Mata Estate, I should say, very well known in the Hawke's Bay, in fact around the world. Probably best known for Coleraine, Bordeaux blend that began first vintage in 82, I think. Was that right?
That's right, Bob. Yeah, on the money.
82, and then but the wine that we're featuring today is Te Mata Bullnose. This is 2019 Syrah. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. The winery, I guess, was well, it's been around for quite a while. You can talk about the historic perspective. It's the oldest winery building, I think, in the country. Is that correct?
It is, and old buildings are nice to have, but the more important aspect of the history for us, I guess, is probably the vineyards that come with Te Mata,
right.
Which again are probably the oldest. Well, in fact, I'm sure they're the oldest continuously producing vineyards in New Zealand, planted in the 1890s. So they've been replanted at various points. I hasten to add that it'd be lovely to have 100-plus-year-old vines, but they were identified as fantastic vineyard sites 125 years ago and have been in Te Mata's position that entire time.
This wine is a great advertisement for the 2019 vintage. In fact, you've had a trio of super vintages: 2019, 20, 21. Do you have
someone's smiling on us, Bob? We've had a really remarkable run in the last 3 years. I mean, in Hawke's Bay, we're fortunate to enjoy fantastic vintage variation. We celebrate that here at Te Mata. We like the wines to speak of the vintage and reflect different vintage conditions. But this has been a truly remarkable run, this 19, 20, and 21. They've been pretty outstanding. So yeah, we're very pleased with them. The 19 that we're talking about here today, great wine. The 20 and the 21 coming through as well, also amazing.
And this is digressing slightly, but with Coleraine, do you have a favourite vintage for Coleraine? Because I do.
I think we've had this conversation before, Bob. I think you have had some favourite vintages from the past. I mean, Bullnose is a bit like Coleraine in that we've been making it for a long time, and over a raft of vintages, you see that vintage variation and you see the quality of them. So the original Bullnose was a single vineyard wine from the Bullnose vineyard itself, which we purchased in 1990 as a greenfield site and developed a vineyard on it. The very first vintage off it, first crop, is often quite remarkable. And that proved to be the case in this instance as well. 92, the very first vintage of Bullnose, was a remarkable wine. And from that first decade, probably the standouts were 92, 96, 99, all wonderful wines.
You do so well with your reds that it tends to overshadow the poor old white wines. What's your favourite Te Mata white?
It's a tricky question. I'm a Hawke's Bay boy through and through, and we love Chardonnay here in Hawke's Bay, and I just adore Elston Chardonnay. I drink it a lot at home, particularly because we have such lovely summers here in Hawke's Bay. We do a lot of alfresco dining and entertaining and things, and I love Elston Chardonnay with seafood. I just adore it. Having said that, Cape Crest Sauvignon Blanc is a very, very successful wine for us internationally. And it's such a wildly different style of Sauvignon Blanc from what most people associate with New Zealand. And that wine is, gets great recognition for us internationally. But yeah, the simple answer to your question, my heart is Elston.
How's the vintage? The vintage look. It's after you've had 3 crackers. It's always you get a bit nervous. We can't get another one surely. But
we've been saying that for the last couple of years. But I mean, we kind of thought that a little bit in 2021, following the outstanding 19 and 20. But look, we're obviously only in the very early stages of the growing season for 22. At this point, we've got through all the bud burst and things. There was it was rather cool here during bud burst. It started very early because we had a very dry winter, and we had quite an early bud burst. A lot of frost fighting because of cool nighttime temperatures and things. Thankfully, got through all of that without any frost exposure at all. So that was beneficial. We've just been going through flowering. The weather was fabulous during flowering, so that's been very successful, very even. We're still looking reasonably early, and yeah, things are looking. We've had reasonable amount of we've had very warm spring, but with quite frequent but very small showers. So we're actually behind normal rainfall for this time of the year, but just the frequency of them has meant that we've had to do a lot of work in the vineyards in terms of great deal of vine growth, which suggests that the vines are going to have a lot of canopy, a lot of leaves, which should set us up for a lot of photosynthesis, potentially quite advanced ripening as we go through the summer heat. And it's pretty warm here at the moment. I think we're going to have 32 degrees on Monday. So yeah, we're kind of keeping an eye on how much leaf removal we do and things like that to try and make sure we maintain the balance that we pride ourselves in our wines.
Well, thanks, Nick. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today, but it's been great to catch up, albeit digitally or whatever. Thanks once again for coming along, and the best of luck, because you always need a little bit of that with the vintage ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, Bob. And look, lovely to catch up with you and to all the Real Review viewers. Please find yourself a glass of Bullnose, enjoy it, and have yourself a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you.